All right, guys, how's it going? Now, before I get into this video, I need to point out that I'm not feeling too good today. I'm bunged up. I've got a bit of a sore throat. My chest is like playing up. I've had it for about a week, as you know. I did go out yesterday with Bri Partridge, who's one of my long-term viewers from here. I love to see Bri whenever. So we had a few sherbets yesterday, but it's now to do with that. I feel fine now. I don't have an hangover or anything. I only had 2 hours kip though, 2 hours sleep, and I already feel like shit. So today I'm a bit off form today. So I'm going to try and do my best for you. And I'm going to try not to cough as much as possible, but I'm really, really sorry if I do. I can't do anything about it. So I want to talk to you about this article by James Pearce at The Athletic. Liverpool still have biggest prize in their sights, but are already planning for the summer. Now, The Athletic is, that article I assume is behind a paywall, or I have a subscription to The Athletic, but it's behind a paywall. And my friend was saying that if you get the URL to any article at The Athletic or The Times or the Daily Mail, if it's behind a paywall, copy that URL, go to a website, archive.ph, second box down, paste it in, and it'll open it up. That's what he said. So it might be, worth you just trying out. Anyway, I've picked out some key points from the article. I'm not going to read the entire article to you. I'm going to mention them to you, and I want to know what you think at the end of the video. Hughes and Slot agreed last summer that it made sense to stick with what they had inherited from the Klopp era. This is in terms of player recruitment and the squad. They saw room for growth and development, and their belief has been proved right. Now, this one, let me read it to you first. Renewed interest from Saudi Arabia in Núñez could suit Liverpool, given it would provide a big windfall that could be reinvested. And I immediately twigged on to that and thought, this is about money not being available. Think about it. And I'm going to read other notes to you that might give you that impression. It would provide a big windfall that could be reinvested. So are they hoping to sell Núñez to them or somebody else out there? Get some serious wongering because it's needed if we're going to do any business in the summer. I just thought it sounded like they needed the windfall. That's what it sounded like to me. If Van Dijk and Salah sign extensions, less business will need to be conducted this summer. But those contracts would still put a dent in the funds available for transfers. See what I mean? As the rumour mill starts to crank up again, there needs to be a dose of reality. Liverpool recently posted a £57 million pre-tax loss for last season and had the second biggest wage bill in the Premier League at £386 million per year. So again, all suggestions to do with maybe limited funds in the summer, I think. Do you? The financial landscape looks considerably better courtesy of a lucrative return to the Champions League. Commercial revenues continue to climb. There's the new kit deal with Adidas and a money-spinning pre-season tour of the Far East on the horizon. However, FSG's self-sustaining business model won't change. It's down to Edwards and Hughes to decide how best to spend the money the club generates. Liverpool's data-led, I fucking hate reading that, approach is more likely to lead them to players on the way up with a point to prove rather than buying the finished articles with eye-watering price tags. Think Benjamin Sesko, not Alexander Isak. As good as Slot's side have been for the majority of this season, there is plenty to address, but they should be doing so from a position of strength as Premier League champions, and there's nothing fortunate about that. We should have been strengthening in January, February, James, I think, from a position of strength, and then maybe we would have been challenging on, challenging for other silverware. What are you thinking so far about this one, guys? James Pearce, for those of you that don't know, Well, it used to be a very good journalist, I think. Like back in the day for the Liverpool Echo and that, the Liverpool Man. But he's now at the Athletic, and he used to like the Liverpool correspondent for the Athletic, really, like supposed to be the main one. But he always gets, like trumped by David Ornstein. He's the one with all the scoops. Pearce, I don't think people would consider Pearce to be in the loop when it comes to news to do with Liverpool. I think he's very good at writing, analysis articles and maybe interviews with former players and things like that. But he's not. I wouldn't say that he's connected to people at the club like at the level of say Joyce or Ornstein. I think he's one of them that just has that basic, working relationship access, press conferences, little chin wags and that. But even with that, he's still able to write about the mood, and he will, of course, have many contacts and people that, that are aligned to the club or work for the club, or he's not like, what I'm trying to say here is, if Ornstein had written this article, I would have said, all right, that's Edwards telling us that there's not going to be a big, expenditure or recruitment drive or something. But James Pearce is writing it, so it doesn't make me as alarmed, but at the same time, he's got those feelings from somewhere. And I don't know if you would agree with me, but I just feel that the article is very much that preparing you for reality. I can't remember what he said. Do you remember? Can you remember what he said? There needs to be a dose of reality. So let's think about this again, just key points. Selling Nunes would provide a big windfall that could be reinvested. In other words, we need to sell to get that money. Van Dijk and Salah's contracts would put a dent in the funds available for transfers. As the rumour mill starts to crank up about big money signings, like Isak and all that, there needs to be a dose of reality. Sorry, I don't know if I've just repeated myself. And then an indicator of a reminder of the £57 million pre-tax loss, more likely to lead to players on the way up with a point to prove rather than buying the finished articles, which are more expensive. So that's where I think you'd be looking at players like Benjamin Sesko instead of Alexander Isak. But I feel like the article is the annual, warning, reminder or something. I think we saw one from him, didn't we? I'm sure I did an article review about something James wrote last week, and it was like, oh no, here we fucking go. Do you remember? And this is the same kind of thing. It's kind of preparing you for the money's, there's not going to be a lot of money there, kind of thing. And if you get Van Dijk and Salah, then there's not going to be money, a lot of money in the kitty. So it does suggest that maybe they do have to sell to reinvest, but that tends to be the policy anyway with FSG, wouldn't you agree? The article's full. It's very depressing, the article, to be honest with you, if you read it from start to finish, because it's telling you about all the circumstances that need to be resolved at the club. Talking about Konaté's situation and what players are likely to leave and so on. And if you list them all, if you were to write down on a piece of paper the amount of stuff that Richard Hughes has to sort this summer, it's phenomenal. It's absolutely phenomenal when you think about it. You've got Trent going to Real Madrid. You've got Virgil's contract. You've got Mo Salah's contract, Konaté's contract. Diaz isn't signing a contract, so are they going to sign him to Barcelona then? Can they make that happen? You've got the goalkeeper situation, like Kelleher, going out. Then you've got the situation with Darwin Núñez, obviously that's what they're looking at there for revenue. Then you've got some, potential fringe players and stuff that need sorting out that might want to move on, and we don't know who's going to be leaving. So then, when someone leaves, in theory, you've got to replace them. the article talks about how do you replace Mo Salah, and it would be costly, and it's a very, very depressing article, if I'm honest with you. I think if you do get a chance to read it, I would read it. But I do feel like the article in general is like kind of like setting you up for reality, which is what he's saying, you know, dose of reality or whatever. In other words, don't, you know, all these talk of going for, you know, we've seen players linked with us 150 million, you know, recently, not just Isak. So it doesn't make for good reading, the article, to be honest with you, but it's what you would expect from James Pearce around this time. I think most people, you know, that follow these things would say, well, there's no surprise that the James Pearce articles come out saying, well, we have to be careful in the summer. So I don't know, maybe I'm, you know, reading it wrong, but like I say, those points there are all about money and lack of, and we have to be careful and sell, you know, we have to sell to buy, and don't expect this and don't expect that. That's what that article sounds like to me. But he's not in the loop, but I still feel like he would still be getting the vibe, and he's still got that basic access, you know, that the journals have at press conferences where Richard Hughes will be saying to him, well, we won't be going crazy because of this and that. So I still think you need to pay attention to his mood in that article. And we'll just have to wait and see, won't we, guys? So anyway, I don't think I've done too bad with the video, to be honest with you. I don't think I annoyed you too much with my coffee. Like I said, I do apologise. I'm just trying to shift it now, really. So, all right, guys, I'll leave it with you. If you appreciate my efforts, please thumbs up the video. I would love to hear your comments on this one. I'm a little bit behind with my comments at the moment, okay? So I do try and reply or acknowledge everybody. I will get there. But I would really, really like to hear your thoughts on this article. Am I misreading it, or am I being right here with what's being said? How do you see it from those points that I've just mentioned? Don't get me wrong, I've only picked key points out, you know. I don't think I've been unfair to the journalists in any way, which is why I think it's good if you can go and read it. But I think that if you have read that article, I think you'd agree with me that it's a very worrying article. You know, makes for depressing reading when you look at all the problems that there are, which can be resolved, no doubt about it. But I still think the article has an emphasis on, we have to be careful in the summer. And that's kind of what we get told every year. All right, so yeah, thumbs up, comment. If you want to buy me a coffee, please hit the super thanks button, the love heart under my video, or read the video description. There's links in there that you can help, you know, support my channel. And I will give you a shout out on tomorrow morning's morning briefing. My morning briefings are on my YouTube channel, my other one. There's one on there from this morning, not very good though, because I'm half dead in it. youtube.com/Duncan Oldham. All right, guys, take care. But if you get the chance, please do comment on this one.